Good evening. Welcome to this Mud Hut production. I hope we're all in our feelings tonight. We are immersing you in this virtual experience, reading you some poetry. We're going to be exploring our feelings, deep emotions, and we'd love for you to collaborate. Please scan our QR code, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Drop some poetry if you feel called to, and we hope you enjoy the next hour away from us. First up, we have Bumi, who is actually the creator of Mud Hut. Bumi loves to infuse art and technology, and Bumi is going to be reading us a few of her poems tonight. So let's welcome Bumi to the stage.
Hi everyone. My name is Bumi, and I hope you're in your feelings tonight because I definitely am. I have a few things to share. So I have a couple of poems actually, and they go through different kinds of emotions I kind of find difficult and also I quite easily express. So the first emotion I'm going to cover today is pain. I think a lot of times it's one of the feelings we don't really want to come to terms with. We always want to push it down. We always want to push it down. And this poem is literally about that, about bearing your pain, but also talking about how important it is to express your pain so you can move on from whatever is causing you pain. So this poem is called Pain. I hate being in my feelings. There is a lot of pain there that I wish to avoid, that I wish to bury, that I bury with good times, food, nothing a tub of Ben and Jerry's couldn't bury. But no matter how much I try to fill the landmass, that is my soul, it bubbles up, wanting me to address it like a friend, wanting me to cry with it, console it, laugh with it, smash something with it. And to be fair, that is when I am finally free, when I am finally in my feelings. So that was Pain. I hope you guys can relate to a bit of comfort eating there. My favorite thing to have when I'm in my feelings or when I don't want to talk about my feelings, a nice tub of Ben and Jerry's or Haagen Dazs, and yeah. But nowadays I have to do all this with a lactate pill. So talk about growing up. So my next poem is called Anger. And for me, anger is one emotion I kind of feel embarrassed sometimes to express because I feel like it's so raw that, and when it comes out, especially when it comes out unexpectedly, you don't know how the other person is going to react with it, and it can kind of consume you. So it kind of scares me. So a lot of times I don't want to feel my anger basically. So I wrote this poem kind of like of a story of a situation where I didn't want to express it. So this poem is called Anger. I wanted to yell at you today, scream at you, allow my anger flow, but you beat me to it. Your sadness overflows, changing the direction of my anger. Now it is back in me, till another day, I guess. When it slips out, passive aggressive much, you say, and like a teenager sneaking out in the night, only to be caught by their parents, my anger is dragged back in me. But today I exploded. I raged. I said all I had to say, some with tact, some without, some things I can never take back. You looked at me in dismay. I hurt you, but am I wrong for being in my feelings? So that was anger. I know sometimes it can, for me, is a very scary emotion because I just don't want to hurt people's feelings. But I'm slowly realizing that you just have to feel your feelings once in a while. So my next poem is called Joy. Oh, I love hearing how how loud we are together as they stare. Oh, how I love hearing how loud we are together while they stare. But they cannot understand this kind of joy. They cannot understand we were not allowed to have this joy at some point. That we were stripped of the joy at one point. So now that we have it, we cherish it. We hold on to it. We present to the world authentically, natural or not, enjoying our foods, music, culture, skin. Oh, this black joy. So much to be joyful for. They cannot understand why our joy is so loud. So that poem was called Joy. So if any of that resonated with you today, um, yeah, don't forget to scan the QR code and also tell us about what you're in your feelings about. Whatever resonates with you as we go through these different poems. If you're feeling sad, if you're feeling happy, let this be a moment for you to express yourself, to feel free. So scan the QR code and just let everyone know how you're feeling today. So thank you. My name is Bumi and I have been in my feelings.
Thank you, Bumi, for that beautiful word. I think we can all agree that you've expressed a beautiful range of very different emotions there, allowing us to really explore the depth of our feelings, our experiences, and I hope that this has aroused some feeling, um, some deep introspection with the audience. And we'd love to know, please let us know in the comments how you feel about this and what this is bringing up for you. Next, we have Tony Verse reciting some of her poetry with us. Tony is an incredibly talented wordsmith who fearlessly grapples with intricate matters of self and identity, skillfully weaving them together with her eloquent language. Thank you, Tony, for joining us, and we'd love to hear some of your poetry. Please just welcome, Tony.
Hi. I had to check if there was another Tony in the room because those are such nice words. Now I'm feeling shy. But hi everyone, I'm Tony Verse, and it's a pleasure to be back here again. And this time I'm in my feelings. One thing that takes me to my feelings a lot is my friends. Whatever the situation is, whether I'm just like overwhelmed with like love for them or even heartbroken by them. But I feel like my friendships have, taken me on a journey of exploring my feelings, and that has made me articulate them in different ways. But as we know, not all friendships are like happy-go-lucky. Like when we think about our favorite sitcoms, like Girlfriends or Friends or whatever the show is, there's always a fight. And I remember one fight made me write probably the deepest poem I've ever written. So here goes my first piece called Look For Me. Look for me in your words as they tore me into little pieces. Your words scattered across many floors, my heart in your anger, my mind in your hurt. I'm everywhere and nowhere at all. I don't know where some bits of me have left, words and body alike, or if I can be put back together or forever lost in the gaps of the letters that you put side by side blank to make your soul-piercing sword. Look for me in your silence, in your words unsaid, in the reasons in my head, the whole of nothingness. Who I am floats through the air with no words to hold on to, truths and lies, and in-betweens pass by, but nothing within my reach. I am deep in the darkness, lost in your quiet, with no response to ever set me free. Look for me in the space you created, the one that was absence of grace. Who I am exists across from your divide, but I was never really given the chance to survive. As you fill the space with negativity of what was of me crumbled and died. Or maybe I'm not dead, I'm just beneath the rubble of your thoughts and perceptions of me that made us crumble, and there my cries have fallen into ears deafened by pain. Look for me in the tension of two pillars, running back and forth to hold them upright. Though it's not my personal issue, I can't seem to let go to not fight. For structure, the dissonance of what is and what might be have me running up and down, so where I'm here and soon to be there, I cannot be anywhere, therefore I give nothing everywhere, and seem missing when truthfully I'm lost. Look for me in the rivers of rejection, where no's and unfortunately's flow. Unfortunately, I seek some source of refuge in finding immediate vacation as the self-devaluation enters the rotation, and I find myself stuck in an endless cycle of frustration, where there's more closed doors than slight cracks in the window, and darkness gives no room for cinemas of hope. There in the shadows, dejected, rejected, I lie. Look for me in the cracks of love, where I fell and you didn't notice I was gone, not because you didn't care, but problems of your own, and my cries were dismissed as shouts for attention. Where do rejects go when they eject from spaces that cause them tension? So they rather dwell in apprehension, and not to mention their address that they're stressed and depressed because everyone's got shit going on. Yes, these are the places that I lost myself to, and these are the places in which I grew, and these are the places that cause me pain, the spaces in which where bits of me lie. They differ from horcruxes as they are revived by influxes of love that construct me to who I once was, so that when you do look for me, I'm not lost in hurt, but found by love. That was Look For Me. If you can't tell, I felt abandoned. That was the feeling, and I was just giving people like maps on how to find me. But yeah, hopefully it stuck with someone. If you've ever felt lost or abandoned, maybe. But yeah, I guess for me, when I'm in my feelings, I get to a place where I just write about what I'm thinking, my thoughts, and as Bumi mentioned, pain. And what I tend to do in those moments is I tend to sort of find ways to write myself out of it. So one thing I did was I wrote promises to me. So this is promises. I promised that I would always get up on the hardest of days with the heaviest of hearts when my eyes were full of tears. I promised that when the weight of the world piles on me, trapping me beneath the duvet, I'd find strength to push it off and just be. I promised myself I wouldn't do it alone, even though I didn't want to be a liability. I'd ask for help, I would alert someone, but life is not to be lived alone. I promised myself that I would win this battle in my mind. I promised myself that I wouldn't run from love, no matter what my mind told me. I was allowed to feel down, to cry, to be quiet. I wasn't any less deserving. I promised myself I would always give thanks. In the middle of the storm, I'd find peace. In God and in gratitude and in all my blessings. I promised myself I'd survive. And then this next piece is about when you're in your feelings and you kind of create your own story. So I don't know if this happens to anyone where people say something or behave in a type of way, and instead of asking them why did they say that or what did they mean by that, we'll just be like, oh, this person doesn't care about me. How could they embarrass me by saying that? They obviously hate me. And then we run off into a tangent about something that has nothing to do with anything. And people are just reckless with their words, or they just, don't really know that the words will hurt. So this doesn't have a title, but maybe you guys can think of one. As you grow older, you have the tendency to protect your heart more, just as the Bible instructs. From the lessons of failed love to broken friendships. But what do you build your cage with? The metals of dishonesty, veiled by personal sentiment, feeding your heart with the hurt of lies, when they're no relevant and are in no way pertinent to the progression of life. It's easier to say that people don't care, to believe that no one wants you around, because you hear the sound of silence ringing louder than your phone, even though it's been on silent mode for the past 10 years. You have your guard up. But that guard is powered by insecurity. Ironically, your self-defense is actually quite weak because all it needs is a little love to break through, because you crave love. Yes, you do. But imagine how powerful you would be if you were to fuel yourself with relevant truths, the honesty of life, the individuality of beings, that all we do are not, that all of our actions are not reflections, but merely projections of our internal battles. Why not lean into simple understanding, where there's no indicative intention, or the lack of, inattention that we get from our friends, and simply accept that life sometimes just gets busy. And the last piece I'm going to share with you, it's just about expressing emotion when you're in your feelings. I don't know if anyone else gets choked up like I do, but like I choke on my words to the point that I probably just start crying instead of saying words. So yeah, this is about that. And again, nameless, so feel free to suggest titles for me. I have 1,000 words at my tongue, but one is yet to be said, for they are tangled in motion, trapped by my feelings, scattered all over my head. There are words for pleasure and pain, words for peace and war, and words for the things that we don't have words for. As the words build up, they mount, they obstruct free flow and creativity. They begin to block art, ease, feelings, and all. For there's no release, no standing, no fall. They continue to pile up. Every word, every feeling, everything, all has meaning. Thank you. I'm Tony Bus, and I've been in my feelings.
Thank you so much, Tony, for sharing that with us. I am absolutely breathtaking. Yeah, so much depth there. Honestly, I can see that you've definitely found a way to express yourself really eloquently through your poetry, even though you say you struggle and feel tongue-tied sometimes. So, a different medium, essentially. Thank you so much. We are now going to invite both Bumi and Tony to the couch. We're going to actually discuss the poetry and go into some more detail on what's caused them to write these deep poems. I hope you're in your feelings by now. And again, please let us know in the comments. Please drop some lines of poetry. After this, we're going to get our assistant AI to help us. So put some poetry in there and we can see what we'll generate after the discussion. Let's welcome both Bumi and Tony to the couch. Hi. Wow, both of you, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Where am I going to start? Definitely I can see for both of you, although Bumi is a bit quiet. And Tony says she might be a bit tongue-tied, but you both clearly express yourselves so clearly through your poems. And I definitely think so much of what you've said has been very relatable by me and everyone in the audience. And I'd like to actually explore the themes of your poems a bit deeper. I'm going to start with Tony because what was that friendship poem? Wow.
Look for me.
Yeah. What was the driving force? I feel like we all definitely relate to changing dynamics in the friendship, feelings coming up we're not exactly sure how to deal with. I think that was a very deep poem, and it must have definitely struck a chord. So if you're comfortable, as much as you're comfortable to share with us, what was that situation about?
So fun fact, when I wrote that poem, I was crying. Yeah. In say 2021, I had like a really like heavy year. And there was just like so many things that went wrong. And this was the back of COVID, so like we've been indoors already, and there were just like so many friendship breakdowns, and there was stuff going on with family as well, and everything was just falling apart. And it got to a point where I just couldn't, I couldn't do anything, and I went into a depressive episode. I remember. And it was really, really bad. Like I wasn't eating, I wasn't speaking to anyone. Like I just had like two friends that had access to me, and one was just to call me and pray every morning, and then the other was literally just to be like, "Have you eaten? Have you eaten? Have you eaten?" And I'm like, "Girl, I don't eat." Like, and then when I decided to start sort of like revealing my head, just open the door. It was like everyone was just like, "You abandoned me. Where were you when I needed you?" Blah blah blah. And I was like, did anyone actually look for me? Like, how am I supposed to show up for you guys when I can't even show up for myself? And I just kind of felt like I needed to tell everyone where I was and what was going on. And I wrote the first one. Like, I didn't want to tell everyone. Like, I didn't want to be like, "Oh, you didn't believe my side of the story." It was just more of a, if you look deep enough, you find that like you buried me deep in how you feel about the version of events. If you look deep enough, you'll find that I've been dealing with like hundreds and thousands of job rejections. If you look deep enough, you see that like I'm literally running back and forth my parents' like ongoing divorce thing. Like, and this was just like lows, and it was like there's so many look for me because there's so many things happening. And like I was like, look, if you listen deep enough, you'll find this manual of like, if you ask me, almost like, what's going on with you? Like, this is literally everything that's going on. And I got to like 7 stanzas. I was like, oh God, hold on. Like, come on.
I need to stop now.
At this point, I was just like, you two look for yourself. Like, do something. But yeah, it was a call for help more than anything. And then after I wrote that, I was just like, yeah, we're going to go find ourselves.
That's so lovely to hear. And how would you say that's progressed since then? Like, hope you're in a much better space now.
100% in a much better place. Nobody looked for me, but it was good because it forced me to do like my own self search and everything, and just look for things like redefine what I wanted in all of these things, like in the relationship with my family members, in relationships with friends, redefine like exactly what I wanted in terms of the job, and like it just made me like look for what I wanted, look for me in those things as well. Because as much as you can tell people to look for you, like you have to look for yourself. You have to be there for yourself. So I showed up for me, and I'm in a much better space. And this is not to say that my friends don't have me or anything, like, because I was able to define what I wanted from from my friendships. The ones that were worth it are still here.
Yeah, that's definitely lovely to hear, and I know how important it is to have friends that actually support us and look out for us, even if it's just to call and find out if we've nourished ourselves for the day.
Honestly.
Yeah, definitely when you're in a low state, things that seem so simple like eating, making your bed, just seem like such.
Like, sorry, I just remember the story, and I say the story all the time because like it's still mind blowing to me. So when this was all happening, I remember one day like my boy messaged me. His name's Claude. He's like, "Oh, Tony, like, how are you?" And I was like, "I'm not good. Like, honestly, I don't even have the energy to pretend I'm okay. Like, I'm not good." And then he came, picked me up, and we went to Nando's, and I couldn't even finish a quarter chicken. Like, I couldn't. I was just like, I'm struggling. And then we were just walking back to the car, and Amazon Fresh had just opened in our area, so he's like, "Oh, let's go inside." And he's like, "Okay, you can have this for lunch tomorrow." I was like, "But I've got landlords." He was like, "You can have that for dinner." I was like, "Okay, fine." And then I got home, and then I went to bed. I didn't have breakfast, and then in the morning he's like, "Have you had lunch yet?" I was like, "No." He goes like, "Okay, move lunch to dinner to tomorrow's lunch. I'm taking you out for lunch." And I was just like, wow. And I remember like the word I kept feeling in that season was abandoned.
Yeah.
But then, and I was like, when I got home, I cried. Yeah. But then when that happened over like those 2-3 days, I just remember thinking, I'm never like, no one's actually abandoned me. Just I guess I'm looking for friendship with the wrong people. So yeah, it's really nice.
Definitely taking that step back to look for ourselves and define what we actually want out of things rather than the other way around can be really helpful for us moving forward and deciding what direction we want to navigate our lives in. So yeah, that's really lovely to hear. I'm so happy you're in a much better space now, sharing this with us. I hope this helps anyone in the audience who is potentially in a similar situation. Sometimes introspection can be helpful. And wow, let's talk pain.
Oh wow,
pain.
Let's talk pain.
Let's talk pain.
Guys, don't finish yet.
Wow, there are so many striking adjectives in that poem. Like, I can tell she wrote that, bro, when she was in her feelings. Like, what was that? What brought those emotions up?
So I realized there's something that happened to me and I hadn't really processed like the pain. I think I didn't want to process it like for years, and then something happened and then it just triggered a mountain of, you know, when you're like, oh, I'm fine, I haven't thought about this thing for like weeks, and then I saw something and it was like I exploded, and then I just realized that like I do bubble down my pain. I don't like feeling that emotion. If I just want to be happy, good, lucky. I feel like life is hard enough. But then I realized also that like through that experience that I was also eating my feelings. And it was because of the pain. And when I let that all out, it was painful. I cried. Whatever, but then I felt a relief, like just even knowing what was going on in me internally. It's funny because pain is actually linked to the anger poem. They're actually like connected. Yeah.
I'm glad we all picked up the line.
Yeah, so the
She's not gonna talk about the anger. We're not gonna get
the anger came first, and then the pain came afterwards. And yeah.
But that's interesting though, because you eat your pain. Whereas I can't look at food when I'm like in my feelings, and it's annoying because I like food.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of one of those things. I'm just like, why don't I have an appetite? Like, everything just.
It's funny when I'm feeling the pain, then I don't want to eat. But if I'm suppressing it, then I'm like,
you're something to like distract you, something else to kind of focus on. And it's very interesting that you say that actually through expressing that and through going deep within yourselves to like look at the emotions that you don't want to, that's what actually like gives you the release. I can definitely say that you're so brave for going deep into yourself to look at what's actually causing that trigger for you.
Yeah.
Life can be so like harsh with you sometimes when you are being so stubborn. Like it just doesn't let you get away with things. So yeah, definitely things come up and then trigger you, and it's like, okay, now I have to go back into my closet and dig these boxes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what's funny for pain is that like the thing that triggered the pain and the anger actually happened in the pandemic. And I think I was
happening in the pandemic.
Yeah, but I think
it was hard. I think we actually underestimated the impact of the pandemic on our personalities as people. Like I think for me, I was just coasting through until I got to this like point. I was just like, oh my god, there's so many things that I'm feeling because everything was so intense, like in your face, because you had to be like you were either isolated or like it was just so scary times. No, not again. Wash your hands. Wear face masks.
It's true. I see that like people keep using hand sanitizer.
Don't stop, guys.
Yeah, no, like I definitely feel like in the pandemic, I think my mind just went into let's just function.
Yeah.
And other things we'll deal with them later. Yeah. But let's just be in a place where we get through this because
that is definitely the mindset when you're going through something difficult. It's like I can't think about this too much. I need to just get through and come out on the other side. Like I don't even have energy to overthink this too much, like in the here and now. Sometimes actually experiencing deep things and feeling them can be really overwhelming. So it's like I can't actually deep too much that this is really happening. Like let's just pretend it's not.
Sometimes I split my day into blocks to deal with the day. Like I mean, when life gets overwhelmed, I'm like, you know what? Let's just do these 6 hours.
Yeah.
Then we'll do the next 6 hours.
That is an amazing.
And then we'll do the next 6 hours. And then we'll do the next 6 hours. And guess what? Finish 24. And then we go again.
That is.
And something that can definitely be picked up from that is just presence. Like being in the here and now, feeling your emotions here and now, regardless of how painful or uncomfortable it might be, and knowing that emotions are just visitors and they're gonna leave.
That is actually
they're gonna leave.
I love that.
I've got a poster around that says emotions are just visitors passing through. Because it's similar to you, I did have a similar kind of like low episode, and I was like, I need to remember that I'm not always going to feel like this, or even when I'm frustrated, I'm not always going to feel like this, so I don't need to take it out on people. There are ways to kind of go inside and think about how we feel about things and use that as a way to actually move forward. So congrats to both of you on your bravery and progress in writing all that. I'd love to kind of go a bit deeper now into kind of your poetry journeys. I think both of you write amazingly well, and the feelings are expressed so clearly through your poetry that I'm wondering how long you've actually been at this, because you must seem very experienced.
Well, actually, my love for poetry actually came kind of late, because originally, what I loved writing was plays. Like I would dabble in poetry and I like dabble in songwriting, but like my real thing was actually like I loved writing plays. And then in 2020,
I sure was 2020.
Girl.
2020,
everything went down that year.
Yeah, it was just difficult for me, and I couldn't write full-length plays. Like I'm even still trying to get over that, and but then I just had so much things I wanted to express, and I'm actually like one thing I've worked on like in the past couple of years, like expressing myself like verbally, whereas before I'm the kind of person that I'll just go and get angry by myself, and then I'll calm down and I'll move on, or I'll just, if someone offends me, I'll just cry and I'll move on, or I'll just, if it's too much, I'll just stop talking to you and I'll move on. And someone told me it's actually not fair because the person doesn't know why you're upset. So, I wasn't just great at putting my feelings into words, and then I couldn't write plays because before I write like a full-length play, and if you didn't know me, you just think, oh, she's just writing. But then if you were my friend and you watched my play, you'd be like, I know exactly what this situation is about. Exactly. Even though like it might be set in a different premise, or you just know like I know exactly what she was on about. Like the audience doesn't know because they know in my mind, but my friends who know my story are like, girl, did you have to write a full length play for this? But then I started writing poetry because it was like smaller blocks of writing, and it like allowed me like express myself, and I didn't have that anxiety of I need to write like a full length play. I still want to do that actually, like still write full length plays, like just expressing things, complex things I see in the world. But I think I really enjoyed poetry because it helped me like express my feelings in small blocks. And then that also helped me from going from writing my feelings to also like being verbally more open with my feelings. And I've seen like such huge improvement that I'm like, I think poetry really helped with that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's also a huge theme of relief alongside, getting more comfortable, being assertive, being more confident, being more verbal. There's a huge theme of relief through exploring how you feel and actually being able to come out from that and feeling okay, feeling like, okay, that wasn't too bad. And using your art, your poetry and plays as a healthy channel for you to kind of move forward from both difficult things or express a lot of joy that you have. So I'm grateful that it's kind of being, I like to call it a good like channel, or is it just like a way to move forward, and actually it creates beautiful art as well. So there's that.
It's definitely a great channel. It's definitely a great channel. Yeah.
And Tony, what about you?
So this year is the official 15th birthday of Tony Bass.
Happy birthday!
I can't believe Tony Bass is a teenager. Like, she's got attitude.
I know. Sweet 16 is coming soon.
We're gonna have a party.
That's why she's you.
No, but my interaction with poetry started from when I was so much younger. Like at 8 years old, I went to drama school. So I was trained in drama. And for exams, we had to perform poems, and that just meant that first of all, like we're reading like random poems about swings, and I liked it. I was like, this is different. And then when I got into secondary school, I used to write poems randomly. I used to write a lot. I used to do stories, poems. I wouldn't, maybe not full length plays, but I did one or two things like that. And I remember like when I was in senior school, like one of the teachers came to me and was like, you have to perform at the school assembly.
Shout out to those teachers. Shout out to the back then. It's like, oh my god, why are you being so like extra?
I was guessing, when you're stepping like the peak puberty, like everything's coming in, you're getting your ass. I'm 15. Essentially, I was 15. So I was just like, perform, like, ew. But then also, I was kind of gassed. I was like, oh my god, perform. Like, she said, so I went and I performed, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like, and then when I left uni, when I left secondary school and I was in A levels, I remember like I was just going through so much, and I wanted to tell everyone that I was going through things, but I didn't want to specifically say what it was. So I remember I used to call my poems back then concealed revelations.
Oh, I love that.
So they would literally be like deepest darkest secrets. I dress them in like language and figures of speech and literary devices. And people were like, oh my god, this is so nice. And I'm like, can you see it? But then when I got to uni, someone like went through my stuff and they're like, you should definitely like get up on an open mic. And then I did that, and I was just like, okay, performing these pieces makes them like, it just frees them. Like I said, the release, and then I just literally just went on from there. And it's just been like a journey. Like poetry has done so much for me, not just in terms of like being able to release. Like I deliver poetry workshops in schools now. I run workshops independently. I've just worked on different projects in poetic ways, and it's just like so cool to see the lengths and breadths in which poetry has developed for me. And I think because of it, I just I imagine like this whole world of poetry. Like, my brand name is Tony Verse, but like people, there's a double entendre. So it's Tony verses and verses of poetry, but then it's also Tony verses and a whole universe of poetry.
Yeah.
And essentially, that's who I am. Like, poetry is me. And I think more recently, when you go into a room, they're like, "Oh, so what do you do?" And I'm like, "I'm a poet." Like, now I don't. Before I used to be like, "Oh, I do this," but I do poetry on the side. Now I'm just like, "Oh, I'm a poet." Like, I just started a new job, but like, that's not part of my identity.
Yeah.
Like, poetry is now me.
Yeah. It's so beautiful and warming to hear that you've got to that place where you feel like you're finding your identity, especially in terms of what, brings out that passion for you. And you can see how actually taking that first step of doing that first open mic at school. Shout out to the teacher for
shout out to
putting you out there.
Look, that man made me act. I think was it Hamlet or one of those things.
Yeah.
One of those plays. And I just remember thinking, I'm on stage with the mustache. Cool.
Yeah.
But now I'm not afraid to do things like, if you told me to come and act as a man in anything, I'd be like, yo, pull up.
Yeah.
I love it.
Definitely, and now that's opened up a whole world for you expressing your poetry through channels like this, expressing your poetry to the next generation, teaching them how to express and be able to build that as well. It's absolutely beautiful to hear. Yeah. I think for me can also relate to that as well, the writing poetry and actually starting Mudhut, which is the platform we're having this show on today. And how are you feeling about that?
How am I feeling about that?
Yeah, well, tell us about Mudhut. Tell us, if you're comfortable to share, what was the journey? How did you go from writing poetry to saying, let's actually organize a show?
So, Mudhut has been something I've been wanting to make since I was like 19, 20. Like, I don't want to expose my age, so I'm not going to tell you how long that is. But it's a very, very long time. And basically what I've actually always been fascinated with is like art and technology. And like, is there a way, because I feel like technology moves so quickly, but art stays sort of like the same, like the way we experience theater, the way we experience poetry shows, they sort of stay the same. I'll say music is the one that has differed with lights and like creative like ways of the ambience you create. Like when you go to a concert now, like the visuals are like on another level. But back then I've always been fascinated with, okay, how can I use technology to help people better experience art? And that's where Mudhut came from. So initially I wanted to do it with my plays. And then when I wasn't able to write a play for a while, I was like, okay, let me do that with my poetry. Like, for me, I find going to poetry shows like a way of really connecting with people. Like, I feel like whenever I go to a poetry show, I always leave like, oh, I'm not the only one that feels this way.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that person is very brave to put it out there, but I'm happy they did, because like, I don't feel this way. And then for this like In My Feelings sonnet show, I was like, okay, how can I use technology to like make the audience, everyone knew that everyone feels the same or everyone has the same ideas. So, which is why I created like this whole platform. And then the AI came into place because I was like, okay, now that we know how everyone feels, like the poet has, because I don't actually believe like technology replaces art. I feel like they should work together in a way to create new experiences. So I was like, okay, so now we have the poets pouring out their souls and connecting with people, and then now we have the technology like propagating these connections across people. And then with the AI, how do we then like get all these connections and like create something additional to the whole experience? So that's like my thought process for like In My Feelings, basically.
I definitely agree with what you said there about, us not being able to replace the human element. Like, what AI is going to use those adjectives you use? Like, come on, none.
Like, but I feel like you also like, hit like a perfect intersection between art and tech, because I think for a lot of people right now, immersive experiences are what is taking charge in all art forms, like whether and people want to be a part of that art, even if they don't know how to create it, they want to still be a part of it because it's beautiful and art mirrors life. And I think just the simplicity of like connecting with something and saying like not having to think deep or think, because it's not that poetry is being gatekept. Is that the word? Gatekept.
I'm just quiet because I'm like, I don't even know.
Anyway, it's not that poetry is inaccessible, but it's always viewed as one of the most elite art forms. Yeah. It's always viewed as I have to be intelligent to be a poet. But when we think about it, poetry lives in our everyday. Like it's there. It's weaved into everything that we do. Like movements in the words, in speech, in sound. Like it's there. And I think the way you know intersect the tech and give people a chance to be a part of it is really good.
Oh, thank you. Well done, Billy. I'm shy.
Jumpy. We're so grateful for you for doing this. Even me hosting, like I'm feeding off so much of both your energies. Like this is really speaking to me. So thank you both for sharing those with us and for being so vulnerable and letting us know your deepest, darkest feelings. Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for the discussion. Up next, we're going to read some AI poetry, which Bumi is kindly going to assist us with. So at this point, if you have any thoughts, feelings, words, please again drop it in the comments, and we're going to go on to use AI to generate some poetry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I hope like everyone has felt these connections, and like there's like a QR code now in the chat. So if you want to like scan that and whatever you have gotten like on how you feel from today, just put it in there. I'll give you guys like 1-2 minutes. So yeah, so if you felt a bit of pain, if you're feeling like, or you're feeling anger, joy,
reminding you of a particular situation, person.
Yeah.
Put it in the chat. They're not here. They're not going to see it.
They're not gonna see it. Yeah, like
or put it in the chat. Send it to them.
whatever makes you feel better. Honestly, like
yeah. Or just scan it. Like don't worry, I won't share with anyone. No one will accept. Yeah, if just make your name anonymous if you don't want anyone to know. But yeah, if you want to scan that QR code and just enter the form and just tell us, what you're in your feelings about, like feeling disappointed, are you feeling hopeful, optimistic, are you glad for the summer? Hopefully this is a good British summer.
It's not doing terrible.
it's alright.
It's alright.
I think it's hot, and it gives us some time to cool down a little bit, and the sun is out again. Like I have no complaints.
Yeah, it's not bad.
To be fair, summer doesn't give you the opportunity to like sit with your feelings in the way that winter does.
Yeah.
Because like in summer, you want to be outside.
Yeah.
You want to be outside. The hay fever aside, you want to be outside. So it's sort of like you go, unless you're like intentional. So like sometimes I like going for walks. I try to do walks like 2 to 3 times a week. So I just go through the walk, like there's a canal behind my house. There's like some wood, like a woodland. Go through the trees.
Yeah.
It's really over there. But in winter, it's cold.
Yeah.
So you're in your room. It's already dark at 4 p.m.
Literally.
Your feelings are coming inside. It's cold. Everybody wants, like you said, they're guests. But you see, in those winter fields compared to summer fields, the winter fields they have a sleepover bag.
Yeah.
They're not cousins.
Summer fields are high and by.
Yeah. There's literally no break. There's no relief. Like
there's no. It's just like, when is this going to end? Like honestly, especially here, like, and then it's not dark at 4.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So I see someone put in joyful. So yeah, so we're gonna start off with like generating some of the poetry based on what people have entered. Yeah, so we'll give it like 1 second and generate. I'm quite interested to know like what we're gonna get to.
Yeah.
Oh, it's here. Okay, so Bumi, I think she's wearing that opening joyful, so this is for you. So it says, all my worries and my pain are just a trifling thing. I can quickly wash them away and start again to sing. I take part in all the fun. I'm sure to be around, and soon my spirit is reborn, so that a smile is found. Joyful is the air I breathe. It is such a pleasant thing. It fills my heart with so much glee. It is like a little fling. In every season, every day, I will be happy too. Do you know what I like about this? It starts off with the theme, one of the themes of today, which is like your feelings are visitors. Yeah. They're not here to be permanent.
I love the little affirmation at the end.
Yeah.
And also that little simile, it's like a little fling. Has anyone ever had a summer fling? You know, some flings are lit. Okay. So,
yeah. As long as it remains summer fling, I feel like when you carry your summer fling over,
what you see is what you get.
Yeah. I like that. My mom always says that like happiness is a choice, and I will be happy too. Like it is like It's hard to when you're in the moment and like you're upset about something. It's hard to like reel yourself back and be like, I need to choose like happiness in this particular moment.
Yeah. But that's why I like technology though. Like I'm one of those filming people. Like make videos. So like when I'm sad, I just go on my phone. I just watch my friends smiling, dancing. I'm just like, I make you laugh. Yeah. Just creating like little pockets of joy so that when you are like, when you are sad, like there's something to like want to put out.
Having those other things to turn to that you do feel kind of happy and can still arouse that joy within you, even when other things are.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we're quite short on time, so we'll do one more and then we'll call it a day. So we'll just wait for a bit while we get started.
That is a good affirmation.
Yeah, you should take a picture of it actually. Okay, it looks like we may not be able to do one more tonight. But we can.
Do you think you can freestyle it?
Do I? I write my poems down because I don't want to give too much away. If I freestyle, given the week I've had,
never know what might come out.
You don't know what will come out. It's like Pandora's box.
I remember an event recently and the girl was just like taking words from the crowd and freestyling, and I was like, wow, I'm gonna try that soon.
Do you want us to put you on?
Try it now.
Should we try? Yeah.
We can try. Have zero expectations. So that if I give one or two good lines, you just like, oh my gosh,
what word should we do?
Should we do three? We'll do 3 words, but like I'll you can say them after I said the first one. Then
Okay.
The second one.
Okay. I'm gonna go golden.
I like that.
I got that from you, Erin.
Okay. Happy memories sometimes go low, like golden sunsets do. Sometimes they glow like stars do. Sometimes they shine like the moon. I tried.
I love it. That was actually really
That was
good.
easy to come up with on such short notice.
I know.
I saw the moon pop up. I was like, I got
I don't know. Should I challenge myself? I just don't know if I'm gonna release Pandora's box.
Okay.
Okay, give me a word. If it's not great, I'll just edit it out.
How about free?
Free. I feel free. Free enough that I want to jump into the ocean. Free enough that I want to run around naked. Free enough that when I go to bed, I have nothing but peaceful dreams. Because I'm free of all my feelings, free of all the bad things that have happened, free of any negative feelings, because I have chosen to be happy. So I feel free. Oh, that was very scary.
That wasn't too bad.
Do you know, I've always wanted to do that, like just run, you know, like in movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm too,
I can't swim.
I'm just too.
Let me say part.
You go when there's just no one else there.
Huh?
You go when there's no one else there.
I don't trust people. I just like there'll be someone in that bush.
Yeah, there's literally a surveillance. Like you're not actually safe anymore. So
we're never really alone.
You're never really alone. Yeah, but I did. Funny enough, I did go like paddle boarding like while I was on holiday, and I was like in the middle of the ocean, and I was just so free. Like,
where did you go?
I went to like Portugal.
Yeah, I saw that. It was in Lagos region as well.
Yeah, it was in Faro region.
Yeah, that's where I went. I went to Lagos. Like just far down from Faro.
Oh yeah. So where the boat where we took the boat was actually like in Lagos. So we drove from Faro to Lagos. Yeah, I was like in the ocean. I could have stayed there for like hours. Like my friends were looking at me, I was like lying down on my board. I was just so happy. Like that's another place that makes me feel free. Like the ocean, like the water. Huh?
A water sign.
Funny enough, I'm the odd sign of Aquarius. The air sign that everyone thinks is a water sign.
It's called Aquarius.
Yeah.
That's why I don't believe in science, because I actually have a whole aqua in your name. And I'm a Virgo though.
I thought she was going to say
Do you know you give me Virgo?
She gives me Gemini energy.
Really?
Yeah, but you do also give me Virgo energy.
Yeah, you give me Virgo energy. Yeah, I'm not actually sure. How about you? What's your sign?
I'm a Leo.
To be honest, you feel like you're Leo.
Do I?
You seem very bold and confident.
Do I?
Yeah.
I love Leo women, but I hate Leo men.
Fair enough. I can stand by that.
Wow.
I can stand by that. No, because I feel like
Except my mother, I love you.
you can be like extra and it comes across nice, and the guy just like turn it down.
Leos are always brave, but they're not like, I don't know, like arrogantly. Like, I don't know, they're always very.
Fair enough. I get what you mean. Yeah.
But is this a science? Is this fact? We don't know. But
it's in the stars, essentially.
It's in the stars. Or just sometimes on Instagram when I read things about Aquarius, I'm like, oh wow. And then sometimes I read things I'm like, oh, I'm not really like that.
Yeah.
But then someone will justify. I'll be like, it's because your moon is here.
Rising moon, rising moon. Let me just die.
Venus or Mars.
Too much.
Oh yeah. Oh, so we're back actually. I think we'll do one more to close. I wonder if we're gonna get joyful again. I have a feeling if it's gonna be joyful again, but if it is, will mean it's your lucky day. waiting patiently through my heart, though my heart is filled with anxiety and aching from anticipation, I will hold back my pain and wait patiently. Though I am eager to find out my faith, I will choose to take a still stance as I look upon the horizon. I will wait patiently. The world moves around me, yet I remain still in contemplation, for I know that what I seek will come to me if I wait patiently. I will wait and introspect gaze. An introspect gaze?
I will wait with an introspect.
With that introspect gaze. Oh, I like that. Like patience as a cure for anxiety.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've had a good show.
I've really enjoyed today's show.
Yes. It's been good. Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you to the audience for joining and participating, collaborating with us as well. Thanks to the poetry as well. I think we're going to close the show here now, and we will definitely host another show next month.
Yeah, and we're planning an actual live show. So if you're in London, if you follow us, if you're I never knew Anyway,
share.
subscribe,
all of them.
Follow us on our Twitter, Instagram,
Speaking of
TikTok. I know. Yes. Oh my God. How can we forget Tony? Tell us.
I got my 15th birthday anniversary, whichever one you want to call it. It's called Verses of Clouds, and it's going to be an immersive experience. So it's basically putting what it feels like to be on clouds, in clouds, with clouds, in words. So come along. There's refreshments, cloud themed. There's music, cloud themed. There's poetry, cloud themed. There's mud hut tech, cloud themed. So get with it. And hopefully with the right art direction, you will feel like you're in clouds. So just check my Instagram for tickets.
Yeah, so I wouldn't want to miss it if I was you.
Alright, thanks guys. Hope this has been a different experience to what you'd usually spend your evening doing. And we'll see you on our next show or our next live events.
Thank you. Bye.